The movie is set in a not far off distant future at the peak of advanced AI tech development. Humanoids resembling humans have been developed and tested with great success. Unbeknownst to the developers, however, the robots have an ulterior motive to outwit them and conquer the world. As the movie opens, we are introduced to our protagonist, Caleb, a 26-year-old programmer working for a big search engine company called Blue Book. Being one of the best in the company, he easily wins a competition for an undisclosed job tabled by the company's CEO, Nathan. A chopper picks him up later to take him to the CEO's isolated residence far from civilization. The pilot, who isn't allowed to the residence, drops him at a distance while pointing out the directions for him. He carefully makes his way towards the residence and his phone loses signal as he gets closer. Finally, he is welcomed by an advanced AI home assistant to the seemingly deserted house. His arrival was anticipated, so a card is instantly generated for him to access the house. He walks through the magnificent, empty house before finally spotting Nathan working out. After a brief introduction, he walks him to his room and gets him to sign a non-disclosure agreement before briefing him on the job. He is here for a Turing test, which entails testing a computer or robots for artificial intelligence. It's revealed that Nathan has been developing advanced humanoids with impeccable consciousness. Caleb is set to interact with a model named Ava to test her abilities and is thrilled to start at the very moment. As he makes his way to the observation room, he can't help but notice a crack in the reinforced glass barrier, suggesting that Ava might have tried to break out. Ava then appears, and the duo quickly gets acquainted, and Caleb learns he is the second person she is meeting other than Nathan. Caleb is amused by her physique and literature skills as they converse about basic items like languages. At the end of their first session, Caleb is glad to share his fascination with Nathan, congratulating him for the outstanding achievement. However, Nathan, who seems to be an occasional drinker, deflects his compliments and talks more about the test. He is eager to see if Ava will get Caleb to appreciate her consciousness despite him knowing she is a robot. In the next scene, Caleb goes to bed, but soon checks on Ava on his monitor as he can't find any sleep. Suddenly, the power goes out, and the home assistant AI announces a lockdown and locks all the doors. When the backup generator kicks in, the doors are operable and he immediately goes looking for Nathan. He acknowledges to be working on it as he is finding a new crew after eliminating the previous crew to protect his data. With this strange finding, Caleb heads back to his room and is awoken the following morning by a mysterious lady named Kyoko. She enters his room unannounced, bringing him breakfast, but barely looks and quietly leaves. Nathan later introduces her as his assistant, who Caleb can't talk to as she doesn't understand English. As Caleb gets ready for the second session, Nathan is curious to see if Ava likes him back the same way he did last time. The result is positive, as Ava proceeds to ask Caleb if he would mind being her friend, to which he gives a yes. However, she isn't convinced of their friendship's success as she barely knows anything about him. She now turns on him to inquire about his personal life, and Caleb gladly answers. She learns he is a single guy who got orphaned at 15 before making a comeback and becoming good at programming. Ava shows mixed reactions about his stories, and to understand friendships better, she asks if Nathan is his friend. Caleb explains they have just met and are slowly developing a bond that could morph into a friendship. Just then, another blackout ensues and the cameras shut down, leaving the duo by themselves away from Nathan's watch. Ava immediately warns him not to trust Nathan, but the power is restored before Caleb asks for an explanation. She then deflects to another topic, which Caleb joins in to cover up their talk. Nathan, who is curious to know what transpired then, brings it up over dinner, but Caleb covers it up saying Ava said nothing. Later that night, Caleb realizes he might be slowly growing fond of her as he stares at her resting, and she looks back as if knowing he is watching her. In the third session, Ava talks to Caleb about the outside world, curious to know much about it. She has never stepped out of her room, but dreams of seeing the world one day, and adds it would be awesome to do it with him. Caleb, who takes this as part of their conversation, makes nothing out of it and flows with the conversation. However, Ava pushes it a notch higher when she dresses up and comments that's how she'd look on their date. She further inquires if he likes her, as his facial expression suggests that, but Caleb is left speechless. Later on, he forces Nathan to reveal if he programmed her to flirt with him, to which he declines. He reveals that Ava is heterosexual and might have developed a crush on him literally. This continues in the 4th session as Ava cuts the power, much to Caleb's surprise, as he thought it was Nathan's doing to observe their behavior when alone. However, she explains that reversing power flow while charging herself overloads the system, causing blackouts. She then reveals that Nathan lies about everything, and he should never trust him whatsoever. Caleb stops for a moment to think and realizes the competition was just a smokescreen, developed to cover up the story as he was picked for the job. Surprisingly, Nathan does not deny this, and instead asks Caleb to be grateful for it, as it proves his position as one of the best programmers. In the 5th session, Ava takes charge of the conversation as she asks Caleb a series of questions. She seems to detect his lies easily, but doesn't refute Caleb's claims to be a good person. She is also worried about Nathan's next course of action for her if she fails the test. Caleb feels for her as her fear of being switched off lingers in her mind. She then causes a blackout and emotionally confesses she wants to be with him, while posing a rhetorical question to him asking if he wants to be with her. In the next cut, Caleb engages Nathan on his prospects but is broken when Nathan reveals he will be developing another model soon. This will have him format Ava's memories to use her brain and body to house the new model. Later on, Nathan treats himself to his limits and gets overly drunk while Caleb watches. An idea immediately strikes his mind as he picks up his card and uses it to access the control room. There, he goes through several footages showing Nathan's humanoid's evolution and his brutality in handling them. He is finally convinced that the latter is a dangerous man and prepares to leave when he notices Kyoko staring at him from Nathan's room. He immediately walks in there to find her on her bed undressed and gets hold of other models in Nathan's closet. Seeing his development, Kyoko also pulls off her synthetic skin, revealing herself to be a humanoid, much to Caleb's surprise. Meanwhile, Nathan, who has gotten up, stumbles across the house trying to find his way to his bedroom. Caleb is lucky as he leaves in the nick of time to hypnotize Nathan by helping him pick his card up, as Caleb purports. In his room, Caleb is restless as Kyoko's identity leaves him questioning himself as the line between humans and humanoids grows thin. He dismantles his shaving razor and makes a deep cut on his arm to ascertain he is human. Meanwhile, Kyoko watches this live feed trying to comprehend Caleb's absurd doings. In their 6th session, Caleb secretly reveals Ava's dark future and a terrified Ava asks him to help her out. To her relief, Caleb has already hatched a plan to aid their escape from the facility. The plan is to get Nathan drunk and access the system after stealing his card. Caleb will manipulate the lockdown protocols for the doors to open during a blackout. He instructs her to trigger a power failure later in the night before leaving to roll the plan into action. Caleb approaches Nathan for a drink but is surprised when he passes it despite his attempts to convince him otherwise. He claims to be on detox as he has been drinking too much. Things get more sour for Caleb as he is informed that today is his last day, as the copter is set to pick him up the following morning. Nathan is curious to know if Ava passed the test or not, to which Caleb replies positively. Though Nathan is happy with the response, the conversation slowly morphs as he digs deeper trying to uncover their hidden agenda. He finally lets the cat out of the bag, revealing he monitored them using a battery-powered camera when the power went out. Meanwhile, Kyoko, who has been closely observing Caleb, walks to Ava and silently stares at her, not answering her question about who she is. On the other hand, Nathan is seemingly unbothered by their plan as he reveals the real test. Caleb was brought in as a way out for Ava, who could use her wit to use Caleb to get out. The test is successful according to Nathan, and even as the power goes out, he laughs at Caleb thinking he cornered him. Unbeknownst to him, Caleb is 2 steps ahead of him as he already reprogrammed the system the previous day. He sensed Nathan might have been monitoring them during the blackouts and utilized the opportunity. True to it, Nathan notices Ava missing from her chambers and knocks Caleb out in anger before setting out to neutralize her. He grabs a dumbbell weight which he uses to threaten Ava back to her room, but Ava is unstoppable at this point. He is forced to hit her and brutally obliterates her arm as he prepares to attack again. Unbeknownst to him, Kyoko has been recruited by Ava and appears behind him, stabbing him from the back. He turns around and hits her, brutally bringing her down, giving Ava a chance to re-strategize. She pulls out the knife from his back and attacks him, weakening him, and he finally collapses as she picks up his card. She then heads over to a now awake Caleb, asking him to wait for her in Nathan's room while she dresses for the occasion. She picks up parts from the other models and dresses up before leaving, while strangely closing the door behind Caleb. She uses the card to exit the facility, leaving Caleb stuck in the unbreakable facility. She is taken aback by nature's beauty, seeing it for the first time, and soon boards the chopper to fly to the city. The movie ends as she disappears into the crowd while Caleb faces a hard time as the power goes out. Though he doesn't seem to get it at first, the doors might be open following his programming. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the content. Like and share in the comments any movies you would like us to recap.